Brooksville was the kind of town where secrets stayed buried, and people took comfort in their routines. It was a place where the sun always seemed to shine just a little brighter, and the only thing that could disturb the peace was a forgotten package or the occasional traffic ticket. But that peaceful existence came to an abrupt halt the day Emily Thompson was found dead. Please kindly hit the like button, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next chilling tales. Emily had been 25, fresh-faced, compassionate, and someone who had quickly become a beloved figure in the town. As a nurse at the local hospital, she had dedicated her life to caring for others, always ready with a smile to reassure even the most frightened patients. No one ever imagined that someone could harm her, let alone take her life. On a cold autumn evening, the town was shaken to its core when Emily's lifeless body was discovered in her apartment. It was a brutal sight. Her apartment door was locked from the inside, and her body had been stabbed multiple times, each wound deep and precise. There were no signs of forced entry, and everything seemed untouched. The police were baffled. Why would anyone want to hurt Emily, the nurse everyone loved? Detective Clara Walker, a woman known for solving some of the most difficult cases in the region, was called in to investigate. Clara's sharp mind and her ability to pick apart the smallest details made her the perfect choice for the case. But what she found was beyond anything she had expected. As Clara entered Emily's apartment, the first thing she noticed was the strange stillness that filled the space. The air was heavy, and the faint smell of antiseptic mixed with the faintest trace of something darker. A metallic scent, like blood that had been allowed to sit too long. Emily's apartment was neat, orderly, a reflection of the woman herself. Her clothes were folded neatly, her medical bag was set by the door, and everything had its place. But something was missing, something that was vital: her phone. Her phone, which was typically never out of reach, was nowhere to be found. Clara's instincts told her that this wasn't just a random act of violence. This wasn't a robbery gone wrong. Someone knew Emily, someone close to her. After hours of combing through the apartment, Clara found a small, leather-bound journal hidden beneath a pile of old textbooks. It wasn't something Emily would leave lying around. It was personal. Clara opened it cautiously, scanning the first few pages. They were filled with Emily's handwriting. Notes on patients, reminders for work, and musings about her daily life. But the later entries were different. They were darker, filled with cryptic lines that seemed to hint at something much deeper. The most recent entry caught Clara's attention. Day 63. I've tried to ignore it, but I can't anymore. They're coming for me. I don't know how much longer I can keep this secret. If anyone finds out, everything will fall apart. I'm trapped, and there's no way out. The sense of dread in Emily's words was palpable. Clara knew right away that this was no ordinary case. Emily had been hiding something that had clearly terrified her to the point of writing her final thoughts in code. But what secret could have been so terrifying that it led to her brutal murder? As Clara began to delve into Emily's past, she spoke with family and friends, hoping to uncover more details about her life. Everyone spoke of her with admiration. She had been the perfect nurse, the perfect daughter, the perfect friend. But in Emily's case, perfection came at a price. Clara spoke to Rachel, Emily's childhood friend, who revealed something that made Clara's blood run cold. Emily, she had her demons, Rachel admitted, her voice shaky. She never told me the full story, but there were nights when she would wake up crying, terrified of something she wouldn't talk about. Rachel described how, after moving to Brooksville to start fresh, Emily had started to change. She had become more reclusive, more guarded, and, for the first time, distant from everyone. It wasn't just her fear of something unknown. It was as if she was hiding from something or someone. But what? Rachel didn't have the answers. The deeper Clara dug, the more unsettling details emerged. Emily had cut off ties with her family years ago, something Clara had not been aware of. It seemed that Emily had lived a life marked by a traumatic event, a hit-and-run accident she had been involved in during her college years. The victim was a young man named David Harris, who had been walking home late one night when Emily had struck him. In a panic, she had fled the scene, leaving David to die. But what Clara didn't know was that Emily's guilt over the accident had consumed her every day since. Emily had confessed her mistake to no one, except her therapist and, unbeknownst to Clara, her close confidant, Thomas Harris. The problem was that Thomas, David's brother, had found out about the hit-and-run accident and had been obsessed with finding Emily for years. The Harris family's anger over David's death had festered for so long that Thomas had become consumed by it, determined to make Emily face the consequences of her actions. In the days leading up to Emily's death, Thomas Harris had found Emily once again. But this time, his pursuit wasn't just about justice. It was about revenge. Clara pieced together the timeline. Emily had been at work when she received a phone call. The caller was Thomas. They had argued, and she had become visibly upset. Emily had left the hospital that evening, her mind racing with dread. She was terrified of what Thomas might do when he found her. She didn't know how much time she had left. That evening, as Emily walked into her apartment, she was confronted by Thomas. The confrontation had turned into a violent argument. Thomas had lashed out, accusing Emily of ruining his life and his family's future. It wasn't just about the accident anymore. It was about everything that had gone wrong in his life because of Emily's mistake. Clara's blood ran cold when she discovered that Emily had tried to run, but Thomas had cornered her, his rage consuming him. The fight that ensued was brutal. Emily had fought desperately for her life, but Thomas had been too strong. In his fury, he had stabbed her multiple times, each blow an attempt to force her to understand the pain she had caused. As Clara pieced together the events of that night, she discovered something even more disturbing. Thomas had left behind a letter Emily had written in the final moments before her death. The letter revealed the true depth of Emily's guilt and the horrible secret she had kept hidden from everyone. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. In the letter, Emily confessed to the hit-and-run accident and begged Thomas for forgiveness. But it wasn't just an apology, it was a cry for help, a plea for mercy. Emily had written, "I've tried to run from it all my life, but now I know I can never escape. I've hurt so many, but I'm sorry. Please, forgive me. You were never meant to carry this burden alone. I was wrong, and I'm so sorry." The truth had been right in front of Clara all along, hidden within the words of a dying woman's confession. Emily hadn't been killed just for the accident. It was the rage, the years of pain, and the unresolved grief that had driven Thomas to murder. But it wasn't just revenge. Thomas wanted to make Emily suffer in the same way his family had felt. The truth behind Emily's murder shocked the entire town. Thomas Harris was arrested and charged with murder, but the real tragedy was that no one truly understood the depth of Emily's pain until it was too late. She had lived with the guilt of what she had done for years, running from a past that had consumed her. And in the end, it was that very past that led to her brutal death. Brooksville had lost a beloved nurse, a kind woman who had dedicated her life to helping others. But behind that exterior had been a woman trapped by guilt, fear, and a past that she could never outrun. The town, once a place of peace, was now haunted by the truth. Emily's life had been taken not just by a man who sought revenge, but by the weight of her own secrets. As Clara walked away from the scene, the weight of the case pressed heavily on her mind. Some secrets, she thought, are so dark that they consume everything they touch. And sometimes, The only way to truly find peace is to face them. But for Emily Thompson, it was too late. The chilling truth behind the murder of Emily Thompson wasn't just about the actions of one man. It was a haunting reminder that the past never truly lets go. In the end, Emily had been a victim of her own guilt, trapped by a secret she could never escape. Her death wasn't just a tragedy. It was the consequence of a life filled with unspoken truths. And in the end, those truths had consumed her. And now, in the quiet town of Brooksville, the echoes of Emily's secrets would linger forever, leaving behind a legacy of loss, betrayal, and a warning. No one can outrun the past forever. Never forget, the past, no matter how deeply buried, always resurfaces and can destroy everything in its wake, leaving us haunted by the consequences of our actions. And no matter how much we try to outrun guilt or hide from our mistakes, they will eventually catch up with us, often in the most brutal and irreversible way. Please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our next chilling tales.